Someone keeps invading your dreams. No matter how hard you try to forget them, their image pops back up every time you close your eyes. This isn't just a random occurrence or a passing memory. It's a message. This message comes from your own mind, and it's impossible to ignore. It might be about an old love, a friend who drifted away, or even someone you barely got to know. But here's the big question. Why does this one face, out of countless others, keep showing up in your subconscious? And even more crucially, what is it trying to tell you? Dreams aren't a game of chance or some superstition. Your mind doesn't spend energy for no reason. Whenever you dream of someone over and over, your unconscious is working to process something, fix it, or maybe even alert you. The frightening thing is that most people never crack the code. They stay stuck in a loop of endless dreams, not seeing that each one is a puzzle begging to be solved. Let me ask you this. How do you feel when you wake up from those dreams? Is it relief, anxiety, or a heavy feeling in your chest you can't quite name? Your reaction says it all, because dreams don't deceive. They're the rawest form of your truth, the one you push away when you're awake. Freud called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. They're not just random tales. They're symbols, hidden pictures of desires you've suppressed, fears you've buried, and emotions you haven't settled. Here's the kicker. The more a dream repeats, the louder it signals that something inside you is broken. So, tell me, who's that person you see in your dreams, and how does their presence hit you? If they're always far off or out of reach, it could mean your mind is mirroring an emotional gap or a wound that hasn't mended. But if they approach you, speak to you, or engage with you, there might be unresolved matters between you, even if you no longer connect in real life. Then there's a creepier possibility. Dreams where the person does nothing. They don't glance your way, don't say a word. They're just there, lingering like a shadow. That's the most unsettling part, because it's not about the person themselves, but what they stand for. Could be guilt, longing, fear. Something deep within you that you're still avoiding. Carl Jung, Freud's bold student, took it a step further. He said dreams don't just echo our past. They also whisper about what's ahead. They are a bridge between what we are and what we could become. So, if you keep dreaming about someone, it's not just because your past still hurts. There's something in your present or future that relies on you understanding that dream. Think about it. How many times have you woken up feeling like the dream meant something more? How often have you sensed that your subconscious is nudging you to look at something you're avoiding? Because here's the truth. Dreams don't haunt you without a reason. If you keep seeing that person over and over, it's because your mind doesn't want you to forget them. And here's the big question. What will you do about it? Will you keep ignoring the message? Will you let the dreams keep repeating without seeking answers? Or perhaps this is the sign that it's time to confront what you've been avoiding. Recurring dreams about someone aren't random. They're a warning, a reflection of something you still need to process. They're your mind's final attempt to say, wake up! The problem isn't in the dream itself. It's in what you're refusing to face while you're awake. But here's something even more unsettling. Not all recurring dreams about someone carry the same meaning. Not every face that appears in your dreams is a ghost from your past. Sometimes, they're signs of what's to come. Listen up. Your brain doesn't just recall memories, it also makes predictions. It picks up on patterns, analyzes feelings you haven't even noticed, and often, it imagines possible futures. If you keep dreaming about someone, it might be because that person still has a role in your story, a role that hasn't been fully played out yet, or one you never got to see through to the end. And this is where Jung's concept of synchronicity comes in. Have you ever thought about someone and then, shortly after, they sent you a message, you saw their name on a sign, or they popped up in a random conversation? Jung said these events weren't just coincidences but meaningful connections between your mind and the real world. Now, if your mind can project these coincidences into the real world, what do you think it's trying to do with those dreams? Every night, when you close your eyes, your subconscious pulls you into a world where time and space follow their own rules. In that world, the people who show up aren't there by accident. If a dream keeps repeating with a specific person, it's because there's an invisible connection between you and that person. It might be an emotional tie that was never resolved, a decision that still burdens you, or even a warning about something you haven't noticed yet. But now comes the strangest part. In some cases, recurring dreams, dreaming about someone might mean they're thinking of you too. This isn't about magic or mystical stuff. It's about how our brains work, based on science. Research shows that when two people are really close, their brains can stay linked in a subtle way. This doesn't mean you can read each other's minds, but your unconscious might pick up on their behavior or emotions, even without direct contact. So, could it be that they're dreaming about you too? Maybe while you're wondering why they keep showing up in your dreams, they're asking themselves the same thing about you. Here's something most people don't want to admit. Sometimes we dream about someone because deep down we don't want to let them go. Even if you're moving on with your life, talking to new people, starting new projects, there's still something about them you can't replace. It could be the way they made you feel, an unfinished conversation, or just the idea of what could have been but never was. Every night, your mind does what you don't dare to do while awake. It searches, recreates, and relives those moments. It throws you an image, a memory, a feeling, trapping you in a loop until you make a decision. Because that's the real purpose of recurring dreams, to nudge you into facing what you've been avoiding. But there's one last possibility, and it's the hardest to consider because it forces us to confront a tough truth. What if you keep dreaming about someone not because you miss them or because there's something unresolved, but because they represent something you've lost in yourself? Sometimes the people in our dreams aren't really about them. They're symbols of parts of ourselves we've left behind. The friend who's no longer there might stand for the trust you've lost in others. A past love could symbolize the passion you feel is gone. An enemy who keeps showing up might embody your own fears and insecurities. Your mind isn't obsessed with that person. It's obsessed with what they mean to you. And until you figure out what that is, the dreams won't stop. Now, tell me, are you ready to truly wake up?